hey, why not do another sports comedy? Only this one will be a lot more raunchy.
Roy, can you get sick drinking piss?
I think you can.
Even if it's your own?
Okay, a lot more raunchy. Okay, it's really fucking raunchy.
Hold up.
Canada be damned. I'm going to the Klondike.
The Klondike is Canada.
Giorgio, you be doing just fine, brother.
Perhaps the most beautiful thing about comedy is that it's involuntary. Fight it as much as you want, your subconscious is going to set you straight as to what you truly find funny. And what we find funny may not be fashionable or even tasteful, and that should tell you something. The Farrelly Brothers' 1996 bowling comedy Kingpin is hardly the subject of discussion among sophisticates or cinephiles, which probably comes as no surprise to those with highbrow notions of what's deemed tasteful humor.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind. I got up a little early, so I took the liberty of milking your cow for you. Yeah, it took a little while to get her warmed up. She sure is a stubborn one. Then, pow, all at once.
We don't have a cow. We have a bull.
Kingpin begins with up-and-coming bowling prodigy Roy Munson, a young and impressionable Midwesterner played by Woody Harrelson, who reaches notoriety in the world of bowling during the late 1970s.
Come on, boy! Bowl!
The name's not Boy. It's Roy. Roy Munson.
But after Roy's suckered into hustling the wrong people, Roy's left disfigured, and we catch up with the modern-day Roy 17 years later. Now Roy's a washed-up has-been with less hair, more gut, few prospects, and even fewer morals. Desperate to make ends meet, Munson hears opportunity knocking, not on doors, but on bowling pins in the most unlikely of partnerships, with Amish man-child Ishmael Borg, played by Randy Quaid.
English Bulldog, 1 testicle, $500. Wow, for that kind of money, you think you'd get 2 testicles.
I'm not here to teach you everything about everything in the world. I'm here to teach you about bowling, and that's it.
Okay. Keep your shirt on. I mean, I can figure some things out for myself.
Roy's brilliant plan is to turn Ishmael into a bowling champion as they hustle their way west to $1 million bowling tournament in Reno, Nevada. Along the way, they find the perfect distraction to complete their touring scam in Claudia, played by Vanessa Angel, and together they do what they can to topple an old rival in Ernie McCracken, or Big Ern, played by Bill Murray, a role that's lived up to Murray's recent personal folklore of being a straight-up prick.
Tanqueray and tap.
Keep 'em coming, sweets. I got a long drive. Do me a favor, will you? Would you mind washing off that perfume before you come back to our table?
For those familiar with Kingpin as well as video essays, this raunchy 90s comedy hardly seems like the typical candidate for a video essay. However, going off the beaten path is more or less the mandate of this channel. And despite Kingpin's lack of class, I still think there's some great choices here, which don't get any credit because they're drowned out by the juvenile humor.
Oh, absolutely precious. That'll come out.
Now, if you're a cine-snob, you're probably saying,
Who you calling a psycho?
I didn't say anything to you.
okay, maybe you didn't say that, but I'm prefacing gingerly because I want to make a clear distinction between being classy and being quality, or at least being professional. For starters, let's talk about Roy Munson. In the beginning, we get a brief glimpse of Roy's childhood, followed by a few brief scenes as a young adult. Here he's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, naive, and ready to fulfill his dreams. All of this is distilled into the first 15 minutes of the film, and it's more or less used to establish the beginning and the end of Roy's assumed trajectory. The differences between the young and old Roy are night and day, but we don't get to see how one becomes the other because all of this happens off-screen. We get the idea that Munson's mutilation has put the kibosh on his dream, and has ultimately turned him into a pessimist. But outside of that, very little about Roy is explored because the movie makes way for other characters, the evolving plot, and plenty of more jokes. We become so conditioned to the way things are that we completely forget about the way things were. And the film takes a quick tonal shift halfway through to look back, which I find delightfully unexpected.
You know, it's been 17 years since I showed my face around here. How do I look?
You look good, Roy. Real sharp.
After that, we revert back to the usual comedy of Kingpin, until the plot subverts expectations again to remind us of who we started this journey with.
We are going to do what we set out to do. We're going to win that tournament.
Yes! I knew it. I knew you were a champion the minute I saw you bowl-ish.
I'm not going to bowl. You are.
This tactic of subverting expectation is an admitted intention by the Farrelly Brothers, and it's so effective because it's the last thing we usually see from this type of comedy. Most of the time, this sort of blindsiding is saved for the dramas. Seeing Bill Murray as the villain of the film is also a rare sight. At the time, it was virtually unheard of. For some younger viewers, it may seem hard to believe given Murray's recent revelations of promiscuous on-set antics, which push the envelope on what's considered funny and what's considered sexual harassment. In hindsight, a bit of the humor of Murray's Ernie McCracken is siphoned off by the fact that Murray was given carte blanche to do whatever he wants.
Hi. Not you. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Ernie McCracken. When I found out little Billy here was growing up without a daddy, I had to do something.
When Big Ern saw our picture in the paper, he called the Unified Fund and got involved.
I had to. I couldn't help myself.
Excuse me, what's the story behind this pending paternity suit against you?
Oh, that's not a case at all. The woman's a stone-faced liar. Let's not even talk about that. I pulled out her really early on that one. Sorry. Thanks for coming. Give a little, you can get back a whole lot more.
Well, at least he's the bad guy. But not everything about Kingpin has been a victim to time. In some cases, the humor may not be politically correct in the 21st century, but it's still funny nonetheless. And the various montages are well cut with a great mixture of comedic bits or non-comedic energy, all of which are matched with music that completely suits the situation, regardless of how recognizable or popular it is. The end result of this is a film that doesn't feel dated due to its musical choices, because it's not trying to adhere to the modern trend, and the side benefit of which resulted in a great soundtrack that fell on deaf ears.
So this is rock and roll. I like it.
Let's not get it twisted. Kingpin is by no means the second coming of comedy. For everybody involved, it's not considered their best work. However, it does surpass, at least in my mind, numerous comedies that came after it. Kingpin keeps a steady pace with an endless supply of raunchy jokes, engaging editing, and a runtime that doesn't overextend itself to that of a Judd Apatow-directed comedy. It may not have received the accolades which I've personally expressed here, but that's to be expected, even for a film which uniquely subverts expectations.